Okay, so that's all good. Let me just share with you Mangalacharan. Continue. Please recite with me.
Yes.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so a quick recap of our journey so far. We start our journey with understanding to begin with what are the six benefits that one can receive from Bhagavad Gita, starting from the point of becoming insulated with what's going on with various dualities in our life, the art of tolerance, leading to from art of tolerance to the point of art of protection. So you receive a sense of protection which is unheard of, which is not experienced before. The third level one starts to receive more and more an experience of happiness within, and then leading to guidance, and then leading to empowerment, and finally a sense of union with the Lord, which is called yoga. We discussed about the topic of soul, that the first basic idea of spirituality starts with the understanding that I am a spirit, I'm not this body. And we spoke about how our 24 hours are usually very skewed, and which is why externally we may be very successful. Sometimes external success does not translate into internal happiness because there's disconnection between who I am and what I'm, what part of my body am I serving. Then we meditated on this idea, what goes along in this journey once I leave this body to another. And we spoke about the conception of the software within us, ego, mind, and intelligence, and its far-reaching implications in our life. We ended the chapter with this question: why does the soul, which is a reservoir of all the good qualities, strength, positivity, vision, everything is there, doesn't feel so because of its disconnection with God? And then finally, we reached to the topic of God. We saw how God is ever existing. Practically in every aspect of life, we can feel the presence of God. And then we saw that to understand about God, we have to first appreciate the nature of God, which is that of our parents. We saw how food, air, water, shelter, herbs, everything, just like a caring father would see, they have reserved. And then finally, we spoke about this idea that if there's a caring father, you like to also meet the father, see the father, meet or talk to the father, get more intimate with the father. But the question is, how do I go there without having any conception of God even? So even to have the conception of God, we need to actually understand who God is and what is the real identity of God. But the challenge is everyone seems to have their own vision, perception, interpretation, and speculation. So how do you know for sure? We discussed Shastra is the way. And then we started on with this journey. People sometimes think this is all diluted knowledge, man-made knowledge, some creative one's knowledge. But we saw that even if it's a creative knowledge, even if it's the knowledge of an intelligent being, we have seen that some of the most intelligent men have also gone wrong. But this seems to be a knowledge which is casted in stone. It includes only tathya, facts. And the nature of fact is you can't change a fact. You can change a theory, you can't change a fact. Fact means what is always existing and what will always exist. So we saw how various areas of field of cosmology, the knowledge of the world beyond our world, has witnessed science thinking wrongly and converged back to the Vedic truth. We saw how the Vedas did not have to send people to moon to know or send people to the space to know the facts. We knew about the world beyond our world in much more depth and surety than the even science knows. Things like speed of light, speed of time were not the unknown concept to the Vedic people 5,000 years back. And then finally we also saw that if there is a father and the father has created many options for a soul to live in, then only the father can reveal how many such options are there. So we saw how number of species is a survey that's been done by God and shared with the entire world, which surprisingly is converging back to the scientific number as well. And then we saw how mathematics, a field where West has supposedly advanced, we saw how various inventions have come from the East, and not just mathematics, any field of knowledge. We just saw this example of the value of pi being, learned by the children of the Vedic Gurukula. So Vedic Gurukula children used to learn this. With what intensity they learned it to calculate, the Mars, the Jupiters, and this and planets. That's what they were dealing with, not the small circles of today's world. And then we also saw chemistry. All the great processes were there. Medicine, all the great surgeries and various pathies we have of a multi-specialty hospital always existed. And I think we spoke about this also, Vaimanika Shastra, where there's an advanced field of knowledge that is also there. Uh, we discussed about this world map as well. Do you
The
remember us
world map.
discussing about the world map?
Yes, the rabbit and the
Correct, correct. So Dhritarashtra would ask a query to Sanjay, tell me, I'm a blind man, how does the world look like from the moon? And interestingly, Sanjay, like a very, very learned man, would describe it's like two parts of giant rabbit and people leaves. And we saw it was a reflection. So we juxtaposed it to the world map and we realized that's how it is. And not only that, I shared with you last time, Mahabharata would speak about many communities across the world, which we sometimes think have just come up. Chinas, Cambodias, Yavanas, Malechas, whatever we call as contemporary European, Westerners, Middle Eastern, Chinese,
time.
Japanese, and so on. And then study of time. For us, time was not seconds. Second was like a privilege to us. Second was like speaking of $1 billion. While we spent days diluting even counting even the pennies. So we had denomination of 1646 microseconds, which is unfathomable for the modern size to understand that 5,000 years back people used to deal with these denominations. And then we probably, I think, also discussed this part of our genealogy, where
Yep.
we saw that not only we are not from the apes, but we have a complete capture of how the generations have passed through from our gotras all the way down. So who can tell about every father that has come in the lineage all the way from God to us? Only God, because He only existed from the very first being to the beings we are seeing right now. So this is where we stop right now. I think future is where we have to go through. So I was going to share with you that so Shastras were written 5,000 years back. However, while they were written 5,000 years back, they would predict things that will happen in the future. So I'm just sharing with you two, three very extraordinary events that would happen in the future, which have shaped the world, which were mentioned in Shastra. So we'll start from this point. Tata khlu samprate samhoya suradvisham buddho namanjana sutaha ekateshu bhavishyati. Translation, please.
And then in the beginning of Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear as Lord Buddha, the son of Anjana, in the province of Gaya, just for the purpose of deluding those who are envious of the faithful theist.
Hmm. So whose advent is being spoken about?
Lord will appear as Lord
Lord
Buddha.
Buddha.
Lord Buddha. Do you know Lord Buddha came in which century?
No.
So 6 BC. I mean, it's a debatable figure, but mostly around people converge to this point of 6 BC. And Vedas were written 5,000 years back. Okay, so it's around 2,000 years further back, Vedas were written. So they would speak about an event that would happen in the beginning of Kali Yuga. So Vedvyas is writing this in Dwapar Yuga, and he's saying when Kali Yuga will start, there will be so much of atheism, and these atheistic people would create such a big disharmony with the faithful theists that Lord would come and he would try to counter them. And he would even speak about, you know, he'd be born of which mother, born of which Gaya. Have you seen both Gaya or you heard of both Gaya?
Yeah.
Right. So we even speak about, Gaya to be there. And then interestingly speaks about some other personality. Navanandan Raja Kaschit Prapannan Udirishyati Tesham Abhave Jagatim Maurya Bhukshanti Vekule. Translation, please.
A certain Brahmana will betray the trust of King Nanda and his 8 sons and will destroy their dynasty. In their absence, the Mauryas will rule the world as the age of Kali continues.
Hmm. Okay. Which Brahmana, what story is being talked about here?
He's been reading a lot with Ira, he knows.
Sorry?
Yeah,
My
Nikhil's been reading a lot
history is a little weak.
He's been reading a lot.
with Ira. All the so maybe he knows. I thought
my history is weak.
he's used to it.
Okay, so have you heard of a personality known Chandragupta Maurya?
Yes.
Yeah, yes,
Very famous personality. You have a TV
yes,
serial on him also.
yes, yes.
Do you know who was his teacher who enthroned him? He actually betrayed the king of Nanda and he made him like picked him up from a childhood, turned him to a great warrior, and put him in throne. Very famous personality, one Brahmana, one Pandit. You know him by the word Pandit. Very great scholar. Even in great schools and colleges, his philosophy is being taught through. I know you know this name. As soon as I'll say, you'll say, yes, I know. I knew about him. Chanakya. Have you heard of
Ah,
Chan-
Chanakya?
yeah.
yes, yes.
So basically, Srimad Bhagavatam is prophesying Chanakya Pandit will come. He will pick up Maurya, and then he will pick up Mauryas and he will enthrone. Now, question maybe why a spiritual text is prophesying about a ruler being enthroned? What's the big deal with that? Talked about Talking about Lord Buddha is fine. That's the incarnation of God. Why talk about Chandragupta Maurya? Now, for this, yes, of course, you need a little history. So I
Yeah,
will not pressurize you there. Let's go to the third verse, which connects the
yeah.
dots. ता एवा चन्द्रगुप्तं वे द्विजो राज्ये भिक्षते तत्सतो वरीशरस्तु ततश्च अक्षवर्धनः.
This Brahmana will enthrone Chandragupta, whose son will be named Varisara. The son of Varisara will be Ashoka Vardhana. Ashoka.
Okay, so Chandragupta Maurya will have a son. His son will be King Ashoka. You heard of this
Yes,
personality, King
of course.
Ashoka.
Yes.
Do you know of any connection with King Ashoka and Lord Buddha?
Mm. Because Buddha is from a royal family, so he was
Hmm.
himself from a he renounced all of that and he at yeah, sorry, he was a prince.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
He's a
then
son.
yeah,
Actually,
Ashoka.
one
Ashoka's son. Yeah.
one king who popularized the philosophy of Buddha, who became the instrument of Lord Buddha, was King Ashoka.
Okay. Okay.
So basically, Bhagavatam is saying Buddha will come, God will come as Buddha, he will have
Hmm.
a job to do.
Hmm.
Chandragupta Maurya will get enthroned, situations will change,
Hmm.
and his grandson will become the instrument of Lord Buddha.
Oh.
So this entire connection was given. And
Okay.
if you just Google it, and these are all very contemporary events,
Hmm.
200 BC, 6 BC, like that.
Hmm.
Much, much later after Vedas have been written. So
Hmm.
this is a quick review. Ashoka was the third emperor of Maurya dynasty
Hmm.
and grandson of the founder, Chandragupta.
Hmm.
And Chanakya was a mentor of Chandragupta Maurya. Well, this is just one thing which we can digest. Our Shastras speak about what's going to happen for next 10,000 years. Some of it is digestible, some of it is not so digestible. It even talks about what's going to happen for next 4,32,000 years, which is the age of Kali. So Kali Yuga, the current age. And everything is coming out to be perfectly true. So sometimes people have this doubt that what happened to these Vedas? Like, what went wrong? This is what, Prabhuji, you were also saying, right?
Yeah.
What just went wrong in this journey?
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. So it's a big topic, but since you asked for it, I will just share with you very quick thing of what actually happened. This is a actually we are making a vision doc for our university project, Vedic University project. So we did this little bit of compilation. So by the way, this is what used the situation of India used to be. So you can see our 30% of the entire world's GDP was contributed by by Indian economy. And you see it's crashing and crashing, Mughal era crashing, British era crashing and crashing and crashing. So we sometimes think we're going to become a third best economic power. We actually have come down from a we were like the Greece of the erstwhile world. Okay?
Yeah.
And we had a concept called Indian knowledge system everywhere. And this was our prosperity, and this led to our Sanskriti, and this led to our education. So our prosperity were the Vedas, real prosperity, and that led to a culture of India which was indisputable, and that led to education system which was all pervading. And what is IKS? This picture may not be so visible, but if you see, this is called Indian knowledge system. Practically, it's the most comprehensive, knowledge system in the entire world. So you have at least 2.5, 3 lakh verses. You have Vedas and Upavedas, Vedangas, Samhitas, Brahmanika, Ranayakas, ritual sutras, tantras, Pancharatras, the philosophy, the processes, Puranas, the basically the philosophy and stories, Itihasas, Darshana, the most complicated form of, philosophy. And all this have great knowledge of every field, biology, metallurgy, science, practically Vedic science, physics, astrophysics, astronomy. Every field of knowledge was there. Like you now see the impact of Vedic knowledge. Uh, just two things from our Vedas. Yoga and Ayurveda has practically taken over the world. One of the most talked about things. And what happened wrong is is the story here. It's a painful story, but I think you should know. So this all started in 1206 AD when Nalanda University, one of the most hallmark university, it was burned. It had 9 million manuscripts. We have very little manuscripts of what huge empire of manuscripts we used to have. And we had 10,000 students with 2,000 teachers coming from all across the world, all across the world. Okay. And this burning of the library, it basically, smoked for several months. People are saying 3 months, some say 5 months. Can you imagine a library that burns for 3 months? So many books are there in that. And then, interestingly, as they burned the library here, Cambridge started. And that became a successful institution for 800 years, and we saw a decline. And next, from 1800 onwards, a tragic trend continued that Lord Macaulay, who was was the Viceroy of India, they would systematically take out everything. So when you read this quotation, this is actually what he told in the parliament as they were trying to rule India.
I would strike at the root of the bad system of education. I would at once stop the printing of Sanskrit books. The money released by these steps should instead go fund education in Western subjects.
So this basically is a very quick snapshot. What has happened is Gurukulas destroyed. So we had 6 universities across India, all 6 destroyed. Uh, many people killed, Brahmanas killed, teachers killed. So much has happened in those era. We don't have the heart to actually, even witness what has happened.
Sorry, Miss
Okay.
guys. Let's come.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
Okay, I'm here only. You change and come.
I'm in a meeting. Mama will put you to sleep, okay? Prabhuji is here. Did you do Hare Krishna? If you do Hare Krishna, you can sit here.
Hare Krishna. How are you doing, my dear friend?
You do like this.
Hare Krishna. He's remembering my chocolates, thinking, can I digitally give you some cakes and chocolate like I gave last time?
Mama is leaving. I'll finish the call and I'll put you to sleep. Okay? You go wash your hands and come. Go
Go.
wash. Here or
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
Mama's
wash in
putting
my
you to sleep.
yeah. You can wash in my bathroom only.
मैं आपकी बाथरूम में
जाओ जाओ.
Go. Go. Wash and come. Go. Okay. Go. Go wash it. Come quickly. Go इधर wash करो. Go.
सुश अंदर आ जाओ.
अंदर आ जाओ.
सुश अंदर आ जाओ.
अंदर आ जाओ. हम लोग का कॉल चल रहा है.
अंदर.
Welcome to household life.
Yes.
We have given an eternal veto to our children to walk into any meeting, and they can sit on your lap and you can do nothing.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this was the situation. Now, the last thing I would share about the Vedas is sometimes people, give this accusation. What if Vedas have written everything in the hindsight? Like, everything has been just written in the last 200 years or 100 years and 300 years and just added back to the book of knowledge. Okay. So I'm going to share with you now some facts, some revelations that actually were mentioned in Vedas to be there 50,000 years back, 5,000 years back, million years back. And science, of course, never knew that they would be true until only last few decades. So we're going to share now some revelations from the Veda that have got proven just last few decades. So some and at least 300 years back, people had transcribed Vedas. Max Muller came, put them into English, and given them to the world anyway. But some things have just come out to be true in the last few years. So one of such events is in the case of Lord Krishna, the place called Dwarka. Do you know of Dwarka? It's
Yeah.
mentioned in Vedas very prominently.
Yeah.
Any details about Dwarka?
Lord Krishna's.
Yes.
It was Lord Krishna's home. Do you know where it was built and any features about Dwarka?
No.
So Dwarka basically, as per Shastra, is a city that was one of the most advanced civilizations 5,000 years back. And the uniqueness about this civilization was built within the sea. It was surrounded by sea. It was like practically an island civilization of very huge size and most advanced. So it was unthinkable for people who read Shastras. A, how can you have 5,000 years back the most advanced civilization? Second, how can you have it placed within the sea? How do you create a system? How do you create a city within the sea? Even now, when we have to make an island, we need a lot of advanced machinery to do some construction on an island.
Yeah.
How do you make the most advanced civilization on the sea? So it remained an enigma until a few decades back. People thought, let's just try to go down the sea because Shastras would reveal this city would get submerged in the water.
They actually found stuff, right? They actually found the whole city kind of.
So this was a moment of wow for the entire India because we've been saying Dwarka existed, and nobody understood that it could ever exist. And suddenly, exactly what's there in Shastras
Yeah.
with the same dating has been found. So what we will do now today is we'll go into the sea. I'm gonna take you there to see what they found out.
Yeah. We found Dwarka and sea.
Oh.
Krishna had built it.
Okay.
We actually recently found it.
Recently found it. Okay.
Just recently, this is like ASI only found archaeological survey to India. Let's see what they found.
The huge areas of the world that have never been looked at by archaeology at all. Or if looked at by archaeology, looked at only minimally. Of course, the most important are the flooded continental shelves, and that's why Santa and I spent 7 years of our lives scuba diving all around the world.
Nestled at the westernmost edge of the Saurashtra Peninsula in what is now the state of Gujarat, India, the ancient city of Dwarka offers a narrative that is as rich in spirituality and mythology as it is in historical.
Just just see that this has survived for 5,000 years within the sea.
Yeah.
I mean, what metal, what architecture would be survive for 5,000 years within the sea?
Urban development.
The calculation is that 27 million square kilometers that was above water during the Ice Age is underwater now.
The city's strategic positioning near the confluence of the Gomati River and the Arabian Sea played a pivotal role not just in safeguarding it from potential invaders, but also in bolstering maritime trade and fostering connections with other.
Great for her to be able to talk in their own language to Tamil fishermen and Tamil divers and see if they'd seen any weird stuff underwater, which they certainly had.
Moreover, the Gomati River's proximity not only enhanced the city's scenic beauty, but also served as a crucial lifeline for its residents. Dwarka's urban landscape, as depicted in ancient texts, was nothing short of architectural grandeur. The city boasted of meticulously planned streets, a state-of-the-art drainage system, and formidable fortifications, all of which were divided into well-defined sectors for residential, commercial, and administrative purposes.
We know
It's very interesting to read Srimad Bhagavatam. It speaks about Dwarka, and it exactly speaks about areas for commercialization, areas for residences, areas for education. 44 lakh tutors were there. 44 lakh tutors.
that it's been underwater for about 6,000 or 7,000 years, but the question is, how long before that was it made? How long did it stand there above water?
This level of urban planning and civil engineering sophistication showcases an advanced understanding of city management and infrastructure development, making Dwarka a marvel in ancient urban planning. The city's defensive structures, including a series of gates and fortifications, underscored the thoughtful defensive strategy employed in its construction. These were not merely architectural feats, but were strategically designed to regulate access and provide unwavering protection against invasions. Such architectural and strategic prowess points to a high degree of sophistication and indicates that Dwarka was a city that blended beauty with brains, making it a formidable entity in the ancient world.
you're coming across statues underwater, you're coming across columns underwater. It's just magical in diving on an underwater city.
Diving into the depths.
Okay, so that was Dwarka. What's another structure in case of Lord Ram, which is also being debated over by the people of the contemporary world?
Ayodhya.
Sorry,
Ayodhya.
Ayodhya. Okay, what is some marvelous structure which is like unthinkable for people to fathom? Lord Ram made a structure while traveling to Sri Lanka. He made a bridge,
Bridge,
right?
yeah, bridge.
Rama Setu.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have found that also.
A NASA satellite passes over the shallow waters of the Indian Ocean. It sends back images of a chain of largely submerged objects running between Sri Lanka and India.
It looks like a string of pearls between two islands.
It looks to me like a rocky jetty, but this thing looks pretty big.
On closer analysis of the satellite image, investigators calculate the line of rocks is over 30 miles long. What makes the image especially intriguing is that the rocks are in an area of sea mentioned in an ancient Hindu poem. A poem which also refers to a magic bridge.
They're Hindu legends that the god Rama placed a bridge here connecting India to Sri Lanka.
The stones in the satellite image are sitting on something oceanographers call a shoal or sandbar.
These occur in an area where there's shallow waters, and sand could accumulate between the two land masses.
The sandbar may be natural, but what's sitting on top of it is not.
This isn't just a simple sandbar. There's objects in here that haven't been eroded away. There are stones that have been brought from afar and set on top of our sandbar island chain.
Okay, so that was Ramasetu. So you see, this is Ramasetu is an event of 1.2 million years back. Dwarka is an event of 5,000 years back. There's another very beautiful, similar such structure, which is Mother Saraswati. Do you know of Mother Saraswati? Saraswati River. Do you know this river does not exist, by the way?
Yeah.
It's a mythical river as per the science. But our Vedas speak about Saraswati practically everywhere.
Yeah.
So when you go to Kumbh Mela, Mahakumbh, it's a combination of Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati. Saraswati nobody knows.
It's not there.
Now, our Shastras reveal that Saraswati existed 60,000 years back, and because of certain spiritual event, it submerged within the earth.
Yeah.
So it flows within the earth. It's an under earth river, basically. And of course, like everything that didn't make sense to the scientists until they had the satellite imagery to even understand that yes, it's possible that there could be a river which could sit itself on this pattern. So this is a pattern they found out, and they even found out that there was a river which existed 60,000 years back, and it even validated the pattern which is mentioned in the Shastras. So the point I'm saying is that practically you touch Vedas from any dimension, any part of the knowledge about distant world, now, future. You cannot find one thing that has ever gone wrong. The only thing you can see is maybe scientists may take their time to research and prove it somehow. That's all you can go. So one can go on and on about this. You can go on and you can practically pick up all sorts of knowledge, Vastu Shastra, Viman Shastra, Gandhara Shastra, science of sculpturing, politics, grammar, military science, everything is there. And practically every knowledge in the world has ultimately got inspired from these Vedas. So if you see some of these greatest scientists would comment so proudly about our heritage. Can you guess whose quote is this?
Some international person.
Who could it be? And what is the most surprising thing this person is saying? He's like
That they,
revealing a trade secret.
yeah, he's saying that he's using
These are the inspiration.
a lot
He's
of
getting in.
scientific investigations and formulations of theories, in fact.
He's saying practically what I'm doing.
Is
My source book is this,
Yeah,
and this is Albert Einstein.
thought as much.
And he's not wrong in saying that because you see, if you see this chart, you see on the left side some of the most notable inventions of the last few centuries. On the right side, you will see their Western origin when they were patented and research and Nobel Prize. They got Nobel Prize for them. In the middle, you see there was an Indian origin for everything. For example, you see velocity of light. It was a very important phenomenon to be discovered. Discovered in the Western world, 19th century, patented, Nobel Prize won, and so much glories came to the Western world. It was there in Rig Veda. Solar system travel, order of planets, black holes, robot, electricity. You think electricity is a modern invention? No, electricity and batteries were there in Vedic times also, 5,000 years back. Nuclear energy was there. Gravitation, all these questions. So everything practically for which we have won a Nobel Prize, most likely there is an already Vedic reference to that. So that is why one can understand that. So you can ask yourself, Martina, you have a set of books which is always changing and changing and changing. Like, for example, Pepsi Cola is good for cleaning toilets. Now it's a great, a version of it is now great drink to drink, right? Everything is improvising. The universe is contracting. No, no, no. Now it's expanding. We're the only one. No, no. Now there are multiple universes. And then you have those set of books called Vedas. One said is said will always remain what it said. You will not never see it change. So the question is, if I want to know about who God is, I want to know about what God wants. Where does one go if not this? Because these are the words of God. This is where you have the best chance of understanding who God is more than my own interpretations and speculations. So that's where we stop about this topic. It's still just scratching 1% of what Vedas have got. Uh, but I think it's enough to get us get some sense of appreciation that this is not some normal knowledge. It is a paranormal knowledge. And this can give us hints to some of the other most subtle topics of our lives, especially the conception of God and the desires of God for us. I'm going to take a pause here because this is a very critical juncture in the life of a student, honestly. Why? Because it's like you're selecting a school now. You're building trust in the teacher, right? And after this, you can be very peaceful if you have faith in the teacher. You rather than questioning every statement of the teacher, now you've tested the teacher thoroughly. Now you can peacefully understand what the teacher is saying. So, but before we go there, now you can take a moment and see if you have any questions, any reflections to build more scientific faith in these books, any reservations that maybe limit you from, completely having faith in the Vedas. So you can please openly think and share.
I usually I get convinced more easily than him. He's the one who has more questions.
No, I think for me, this topic was anyway, I was always partly convinced. So it's only added to it.
Okay, so then shall we move ahead?
Yes.
So what we will do today is, of course, we don't have enough time to completely get on with the next topic, but we'll begin the topic.
Okay.
We will now ask the Vedas, who is God? Okay, now we will ask this question. Before I ask, by the way, can you remind me what was your answer to this question?
Which question?
Who is God?
We had an answer to this.
We didn't answer. Did we answer? I mean, we had discussed it a lot, and then we said that we'll understand how do we know God, how to know God, and then we come.
But if I ask you quickly, Prabhuji, Nikhil ji, who is God?
It's God is a creator.
God is a creator. Okay, that's the job description of God. Ritika ji?
I'm thinking, I was going to say creator, but
Stop copying my answers.
yeah, no, but I always say that. I always said last time also.
The power.
Sorry,
You can't avoid them. You can only teach them. You can maybe just because you can just settle them in. That's all.
Yeah. 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 Who is God? I think the power or.
Okay, let me take you to a verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes the first and foremost understanding of God. Okay, I'll recite this verse one. It's okay. Child is a child. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Vadanti tat tatvidas tattvakyanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. Translation, please.
Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance. That English is pretty.
Call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. Okay. Okay. So what's the first thing given about the definition of God? The first preliminary, and this is such an important definition. Unless we have that, we cannot really expand upon the conception of God. What's the first definition given of God?
Absolute truth.
The absolute truth. Yes. Now, what is the absolute? What is the meaning of the word absolute truth?
You can't change it. You can't
Okay,
deny
can't
it. You
change it.
can't
Changeable.
question it.
You can't question.
Okay, okay. So absolute truth basically now is supposedly different from variable truth or
Different from
relative truth. If there is something called absolute truth, there must be something relative also, relative truth.
sure.
So now the question is, what is the absolute truth? How is it different from relative truth?
Hmm.
You said one very nice thing that it's sort of an unquestionable truth.
Yeah, I think
In Hindi, by the way, you call it Param Satya. You see, whenever a dead body is taken, we often call it Ram Naam Satya hai. Satya
yeah,
bolo Satya hai.
yeah.
Param Satya.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's relative truth is you can while it's the truth you can argue both ways.
Okay. So okay, let me give an example. Which floor you are at?
7.
7. Is it a relative truth or an absolute truth?
Absolute truth. But if
Okay,
someone says no, ground floor is first floor, then yeah,
okay. You're at the 7th floor. For this truth to sustain or to exist, what do you need? For the 7th floor to sustain, what do you need? You need the 6th floor, right? If there's no 6th floor, there can't be
sure,
7.
Yeah.
sure.
For 6 to exist, what do you need?
Yeah, every floor below
All the floors.
Right? Now, for the ground to exist, what do you need?
ground. You need a
You need
ground.
the foundation.
Yeah,
For the foundation to exist, what do you need? You need the earth.
yeah.
Earth.
For the earth to stay there, stay put, what do you need?
Just
Gurtvakarsan. You need Gurtvakarsan. You need gravity. Without gravity, the earth cannot stay on its orbit.
sure.
Hmm.
For the gravity to exist, what do you need?
Gravity to exist.
You need the Supreme Lord whose force or energy it is. The point is, if you go down to the root of the root of the root ashray of everything, root adhar of anything in life, it will go down to ultimately to God. Okay, let me take one more example. Ritika ji, are you the daughter of your father? Is it a relative truth or an absolute truth?
Absolute truth.
Relative.
Sorry.
How is it? How is it relative that you're the daughter of your father?
It's, no, I said absolute truth.
Okay, so how is it absolute that you're the daughter? It's not absolute, by the way, it's relative.
Relative, then I was like, then for him to exist, like my grandfather, and then
Right,
eventually it's all linked to
exactly,
God. That's when
exactly.
I changed it to
Grandfather,
relative.
grandfather,
Father,
ultimately,
grandfather.
God had to exist,
God had to exist to create everyone. Yes.
right? So,
Yes.
Prabhuji, let's say you're in the field of manufacturing, right? So you make wires, right?
Yes,
Okay, so for wires to be made, what do you need?
copper and plastic.
For that, what do you need?
Need earth.
You need minerals, you need various things. Ultimately, go down to the same object. You need God,
Yeah, yeah,
correct?
yeah.
For your child, what do you need? For the child to manifest,
This guy
you
just
need the soul, right?
attention.
You need the soul.
Yeah.
Where
So
does the soul come from?
Papa will get hurt, maybe. You will also get hurt.
Listen, you want to sit here? If you want to sit here, you sit nicely and listen. If you don't want to sit here, you can go out and play, okay? Okay? You're not talking to Papa? That's okay. It's okay. You can stay quiet for some time. That's
It's like telling a squirrel to not move.
okay.
I'm not sure when in the century that happened last time. So, but I hope you're getting an idea
Yes.
Yes.
that what is the meaning of the word absolute truth. Absolute truth means where everything is relative. We are all relative to that truth. We're all dependent on that truth.
On that.
Right.
So the first understanding before Shastras give any complicated, deeper understanding is to understand you are dependent on that entity.
Yeah.
So Rashrit, the very beautiful picture can help us get a visual of it. So
See what? See the baby. See the baby.
A baby in the womb. What is happening here? How is it connected to our discussion? Absolute truth, and we are dependent on the absolute truth.
And here it's clearly connected to the mother.
Right. So the child may not be fully aware, but practically every portion, every nutrition is coming from the source.
Yeah.
This is how our life is.
Yeah.
We may realize it, we may not realize it. Everything we are using, interfacing, exchanging has ultimately got its origin from God. Ashrit on God. You remove God, you can't have what you have. Okay. Now, interestingly, Shastras say this absolute truth is what? Now, what's the next adjective it is?
Non-dual substance.
Non-dual means one. Advaita. Okay, I think, Prabhuji, it's a little technical session. Maybe I can share one little story for everyone.
Yes.
Please bring, what's his name? Veer, right? What?
Veer, yeah.
Yeah. Veer.
Can you take Veer on your lap?
Veer, come. Prabhuji is telling a story. You know your story?
Come, we listen to story. Come.
It's a very nice story.
Very nice. Come on, Mama. Come with Mama to hear the story. Come. Come. Listen. Come with Mama to listen to the story.
Okay, Veer, have you heard of a personality named Baby Krishna?
Baby Krishna.
You know Baby Krishna? When Krishna was very young, like a baby like you?
No, I don't know.
Okay. So Krishna is God, and when God came on this earth planet, he came first as a baby.
Where is baby Krishna?
Where is Baby Krishna?
Yeah.
Baby Krishna came and now he went back home.
Why?
Because everybody goes back after doing their work, so he did his work and God went back to his home. But can I tell you what the story of Baby Krishna? What did he do when he was here? So one time, when Krishna was very small, like a baby,
Yeah.
his mother's name was Yashoda.
Yes.
What's the name of the mother?
Yashoda.
Yes, Yashoda. So when baby Krishna was born, everyone was very happy, very, very happy. And you know, baby Krishna was being celebrated. So everyone was celebrating a big arrival of Lord Krishna in their house. And they kept baby Krishna because they were taking care of all the guests at home. They kept baby Krishna under a bed so that baby Krishna doesn't fall off the bed. So they kept him under the bed. Okay. So do you know what did baby Krishna do when he was just lying idle on the bed and he had to pass his time?
What did baby Krishna
What
do?
did baby Krishna do when he was on the bed? You want to know? Hiding.
Hiding. Oh, how will I extend the story if you go away?
He's going to hide behind the chair under the bed only.
Yeah.
Actually, it's very interesting. Lord Krishna, as Shastras explain, he was tasting his toe.
Tasting?
Toe.
His toe.
His toe.
Do you see children do that very often?
Yes.
They take their toe and they try to taste the toe.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So this is a tradition coming from old century. This is a tradition started by God himself. And Shastras reveal why is he tasting the toe? It's because Krishna is thinking all my devotees want to get a shelter at my lotus feet. Krishna wants to see what is there at my lotus feet that everybody wants to take a shelter on. So he tries to taste it to understand what is there in my feet that everybody is crazy about. So he's exploring as a baby. The baby has gone now. Okay, all it needed was one story. Is he gone? Is he behind you?
He's gone.
He's
He's
gone.
gone.
Got part
All
of
I had to do was to teach him.
it.
Yes, see, not everybody likes a teacher.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, it's a new topic. We'll take it afresh in the next session.
Okay.
And in this week, I think we can just see through the recording. And please, I would strongly suggest if you have any more doubts, questions about Vedas, it's a very good time to meditate upon it.
Sure.
Okay. In the next session, we will discuss the three conception of God which practically unite all the religions of the world. If anybody has awareness of these three conceptions, two magic will happen. A, you will see God everywhere, factually. And secondly, you can't fight over God. Muslims can't fight with Hindus, Hindus can't fight with Muslims, Sikhs can't fight with another sect. Nobody can fight with anyone if you understand the Vedic understanding of God. So we'll see that next week, and we will go deeper into what God wants as well as we go ahead in this journey. Okay,
So,
any questions, anything to add to
yeah,
ask
Prabhuji.
before we?
Yes. Firstly, apologies for this.
Yes,
Today,
yeah.
I think what we'll do is next time find a.
I'm absolutely comfortable with this, so please don't worry about it. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, but just want to make sure we value your time correctly. So we'll just find a place where maybe we're lesser accessible.
Yes. Just
No
for
problem. No problem.
Also, wanted to ask you. So next week you're in Mumbai.
Yes, Prabhuji, I am planning it.
Yes. So
Okay, so we'll schedule this.
Yes, I am available. You as per your
I am
time.
also available. We'll schedule the time through. Also, Prabhuji, wanted to ask you. We wanted to come at some point to Vrindavan.
Okay.
You mentioned last time, you said you're also building a cultural sort of knowledge center or something like that, and
Yes.
it'll be great to see, hear, understand also. Wanted to ask you, of course, we'll schedule it with Dhruv, but do we uh, do we come? Can we get kids along, or do we not get kids along?
No, of course you can get kids along. There should not be a problem, but the only thing is it's summers, so it's
Yeah,
hot.
yeah, it is hot.
It's hot. Relatively North India is quite hot these days. That's the
Yeah.
only thing.
So, what month would you recommend for
See,
little
the weather,
later?
it's starting to rain everywhere now anyway, so
Maybe.
See, yeah, I mean, but you're coming largely because it's their off, and that's why you like to plan it, or you're flexible to come.
no,
We are flexible to come, I think, later as well.
Yeah,
See, you can come even in the next few weeks or month or so because heat is there, but we have to avoid heat basically we have to avoid going anywhere in the heat. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with heat, how comfortable you are with heat. If you are one of those who are not very resistant to heat at all, then of course we should avoid maybe start in July, when there will be less heat and more rains. It
Oh.
gets monsoon comes here in July. That's one time. If you're okay with heat, that's fine. Otherwise, there's one more place I would like to invite you to come is Dehradun, Rishikesh or Haridwar. I don't know if you have been to these places
Yeah, of
also.
course. Yes.
So these are the two places I spend a lot of my time that can be also seen.
Okay, we'll plan accordingly.
Okay, so thank you so much. I hope to see you next week. We'll do an in-person session. Thankfully next week.
Yes, we are looking forward to it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.